Hello. Hi, everyone. I thought today I would hop on and do a decluttering Q&A, answering all your questions, fielding all your comments. So I am live on YouTube and Instagram. So whichever one you're on, drop your comments, and hopefully I will be able to see them. Is Instagram live? Instagram does not look like I'm live. We're going to roll with that. Hello. Am I live? No, I don't think I'm live on Instagram. Sorry, YouTube. Please hold. Technical difficulties. Am I live on Instagram? I don't think so. Hang on. I don't know why this did not work. Okay, anyway, the first question I got, somebody asked me a question kind of outside this, and it was about cable organization. So I want to show you some. Why is Instagram not working? This is so frustrating. I wanted to show you some options, some things like the way that I'm probably the worst person to answer this question though, because I just took all mine in a drawer. I don't keep that many cables, so it's pretty easy to keep track of them. Okay, I think I'm going live on Instagram now. Okay. Oh, live on Instagram. Yes, finally. So yes, first question I got. Hi, Mary. Hi, Dakota. The first question I got was about cable organization. So yeah, I just took all mine in a drawer. So not very helpful there, but I do kind of wrap them up like this, which helps to keep them pretty, neat and tidy. So I'll show you. I'll do a little demo. Live demo coming at you. And it's pretty, like, for all sorts of like phone, like smaller cables and stuff. It's really easy to. So just wrap it around your hand until you've got a little bit at the end, and then I just put it through and basically wrap it around, and that is it. That's the like Martha Stewart, eat your heart out. But yeah, you get like a nice little roll like this, and then you can just chuck them somewhere. I also sometimes, for smaller cables, will use a little butterfly or bulldog clip, whatever you call these where you are. Yeah, so just, let me see. I don't think this one will fit on it. This cable is a little too thick, but basically fold until you have a pretty neat. I would generally fold it smaller than that, but I don't think it's going to fit into this clip. And then I just, ta-da, that's basically that job done. I know lots of people use toilet paper, empty toilet paper rolls. Yeah, that they just will do something similar to this and then just put the toilet roll around it to hold it all together, and then they will just slap that into a drawer or a plastic tub or something. So yes, I hope that helps, Holly. That was the very first question that I got. Hi, everyone. Oh, thanks so much for being here. Hello. So yes, if you've got decluttering questions, me and my 80s hair will be happy to answer them for you. I don't know why, but I was just feeling in a very 80s mood today, so I did like a little side ponytail. There we are. Hello. Yeah, so today the Clutter Cure-All course is officially launched. It's officially live. Yeah, links are, if you're on Instagram, the link is in my bio. If you're on YouTube, the link is in the description below this video. But welcome to all the new students. It went live to the waitlist, people on the waitlist yesterday. So if you were lucky enough to be on the waitlist, you are already in there. You're already looking around, seeing how it all works, how it all looks. Already hopefully diving into the content and decluttering stuff. So I've had lovely messages about it. So thank you so much for that. But yes, live to everyone today. Let me see. Okay, great question. Do you set a mark or a name on it just to know which one it is? For me, I don't, because I don't keep so many cables. So it's pretty easy for me to tell which one is which. Like, I know this one is for my iPad because it's got the USB-C, but a great way to mark them is either with washi tape or some type of tape, and just kind of fold it over and close it in on itself, if that makes sense, and then just write on it with like Sharpie or some form of permanent marker. But also the little what do you call them? Like the little plastic tags that come with bread and things. Those are great as well. They will just clip around cables. They're great, particularly for thick cables. Really great if you've got like a situation down the back of your TV or the back of your like games console where there's like 10 wires sticking out and you don't know which one is which. Little bread tags or washi tape or something similar will be great for that sort of situation. If you're using like the empty toilet paper roll thing, you can just write it on the roll itself. That is a great question. Thank you for that. I meant to cover that and completely forgot. Twist ties also. I will sometimes use twist ties if they're very small. Like, what do you call them? Earphone things, earbuds with the thinner wires on them. Sometimes I'll just use a twist tie on that. Tony says, I've been wanting to tell you that your hair looks amazing. I love the braids you wore. Thank you. Thank you for the hearts on Instagram. So the braids, I've been seeing it on a few different YouTubers for a long time and always liked the look of it, but never thought I could do it because I tried braids when I was younger and it just didn't. You have to be like a gymnast to do it. But yeah, like a week or two ago, I just kind of decided I was going to go for it. And I tried it. And I liked it. It's hassle. It's still hassle. I'm like this trying to braid my hair, and it doesn't always look perfect. Like it looks much better from the front than it does from the back, let me tell you. But yeah, and then I get this mad wavy hair afterwards. This one is a few days old now, so it's gone more frizzy than anything. But thank you so much. Let me see more questions. B says, love your videos. Thanks. Oh, thank you. Hello, everyone. Oh, it's great to see so many like regulars here. Ellie, I was wondering, does it have any info regarding OCD? It does not, and that is because I am not qualified to answer a question like that. I don't want to say like that I have OCD or that I have OCD tendencies because obviously I feel that that's something that should be officially diagnosed. So I'm not going to say that I have it, but I certainly do like things a certain way and can be twitchy if things are not a certain way. I like things to be symmetrical, etc. But no, I don't. That's not something I feel qualified to deal with. There are new modules being added to the course. One of them went up yesterday. The second one's going up today. Third one will be going up tomorrow, and so on. And I do cover perfectionism in it. So like expectations kind of that you have for yourself, very high expectations. So I do cover that element of it, but not specifically OCD, no. Let me see. Oh, loads of questions coming in now. Hello. Asad says, I'm stuck with my sister's resistance to declutter her stuff from my parents' place. She actually believes it's okay to trash their place with stuff for decades and that memory is in things. Yeah. Other people is a real, it's a real issue. And I deal with this. I empathize. You cannot force someone, unfortunately, to declutter or to do whatever you would like them to do with their stuff. And it's definitely unfortunate if they are making a mess that impacts you and your family. There is a whole module in the course that is dedicated to getting more buy-in from other people in your life, people that you live with, etc. There's some great strategies in that. I think like one of the big things for me has been like learning to accept, number one, that they're just not at that stage in their journey yet, and that's okay. And then also knowing that they can, like they have other qualities and they can help and support you in other ways. So for example, you will all probably know that my husband is not on board with decluttering at all. But he is very helpful in other ways. So he might, step in and make sure that Scout doesn't disturb me while I am decluttering. He might make dinner. I might ask him to do something specific, like, empty the dishwasher or something. So that's what I would say. There is loads more information in the course. It's a whole module dedicated to it, like a whole section, sorry, I should say. And it's like the video is about half an hour long, I think. Now it is broken up, so you don't have to sit down and watch a half-hour video. It's broken up into I think 2 or 3 videos. One specifically deals with children. But yeah, I think recognizing that they're just not at that place in their journey. And years ago, I was not at that place. So kind of remembering what it was like for me and trying to put myself in the other person's shoes. Like if someone else had come to me before I was ready and started demanding that I start getting rid of my stuff, I know I would have found that very uncomfortable. So it's just a matter of timing, I guess. But yes, also recognizing their other qualities and trying to lean into those. I hope that helps, but I know I know from experience it's frustrating. Um, Funfetti just says, I just realized that I am a collector of crafty things. For the last few years, I've bought and bought like crazy. Now, when I go to Michael's Arts and Crafts store, I don't buy it because I have it. Yeah. And I think we all go through phases like that where, you find something that you like and then you just go crazy on it and you buy all the things. And it's like, I don't want to discourage that at all. When I talk about decluttering, it's not about just getting rid of everything, but it's about making more time and space for those things. Like if you love crafting, go for it. But if you love crafting and you don't have the time or the space to sit down and do it, that is when decluttering comes in, because you declutter other things to make space for the thing that you love. And that is really what the course is all about. It's not about, and I talk about this in the course multiple times, and there's a section at the end where I kind of give suggestions for what you can do with the newfound space. So it's not about just getting rid of things, it's about creating space for the things that you love to do. So yeah, if you love crafting, go for it. So this is just decluttering is a way for you to maybe like clear a desk or something, like a dedicated area where you can actually sit down and craft. Or maybe you do have to declutter some of your crafting things. Like if you find that you have so much that you feel a little bit overwhelmed and it is maybe stifling your creativity, or when you sit down you just feel overwhelmed and you can't start crafting, it can be good for just paring back stuff like that. But if you love it, run with it. Shauna says, how can I tell if my course has been updated with new sections? If you're a current student, it's updated. The one of the new modules, like I said, is already there. So yeah, just sign in. You'll see it. Scroll down to the bottom. Like I said, second one's going up today. And so on. 7 new modules. Foolishly decided I thought I could do 3 new modules, and I had them like done, but I was just, they were a bit cramped. So I decided to expand them out to 7, which just meant I had to rejig everything because I'm silly like that. Decided that over the weekend. So yeah, but if you're a current student, your course will automatically be updated. So yay for you. I was like, it must be great for the people who got in. Like when I launched this course for the very first time, like all those people, hooray for you. You're already like in, all of the updates have been free. Yeah, that's great. If you're not already in, I would say get in now. The price is going up significantly. So yeah, it's like I make improvements on it on a pretty regular-ish basis, like new modules, workbooks, things like that are being added. So the earlier you get in, the better, because you lock in the lowest price that you can. John, how's the weather where you are? I was in the 80s this weekend in Virginia, but it's in the 60s again. It is nice. It's really nice here today. It's probably, I'm not good with Fahrenheit, so I don't, it's probably 70-ish today. It was a little bit chilly yesterday, but it's really bright, blue skies, and my neighbor is mowing their lawn. Guess that's the noise you can hear. But yeah, that's the blue skies. It's wonderful, wonderful. Such a mood booster. Let me see. Thank you so much for being here. So many people here. Yay, I haven't done a live stream in so long. Oh, did I freeze on Instagram? Sorry. I can't do these streams like downstairs closer to the Wi-Fi box because my family are down there and the dog's down there, and it's just a nightmare. So I'm upstairs. Let me see. A few people saying love the hair. Tony says, I've seen you wear Instagram has paused due to poor connection. Oh, we're back. I've seen you wear so many different hairstyles. You can pull anything off. I mean, not anything. Not anything. Let me see. Mama Teach says, how do you work out which or how many to keep? That's a really great question. And it's kind of a cop-out, but it really depends on you. I think that if you have the space and the time to feel good in your home, that's how many you should keep. I know that sounds silly, but if something is hindering you, you have too much. And I kind of hate that phrase, and I get that a lot on my videos, and people will comment and say, you have too many such and such a things. I'm like, sorry, I didn't know there was this exact amount of whatever that I was supposed to keep. Particularly like on my mudroom, when I decluttered my mudroom, loads of people commented and said that my daughter had too many backpacks. Sorry. Yeah, it's a really personal decision. And I know that's frustrating advice to hear, because you want like something a little bit more, like something that you can work off. But I think if everything that you have makes you happy and you can store it in a way that does not get in your way, I think that's fine. Like if it's not a fire hazard or a tripping hazard, or, you don't just feel frustrated when you walk into a room or when you're looking for something, I think that's fine. I wouldn't try go for like the minimum amount possible. Just like whittle it down. If you find an area that is frustrating you, get rid of a few things. Then if the area is fine and you can like work around it and it functions, yeah, I think that's fine. Sorry if Instagram is being, because I can see it on the screen, I'm just like freezing every second. I don't know if that's happening on YouTube, but YouTube seems to be fine. Okay, SJ Peter says the sound is very crackly. Is this something on my end? I have no idea. Oh no, Mylene says sound is lurching on her end too. I think it's just the connection. I'm really sorry about that. I'm sure it will sound better on YouTube. And it will be up, the replay will be up on YouTube afterwards if you want to hop in. Elizabeth says, do you have new worksheets? I feel like those sometimes help getting it out of my head. There are new worksheets coming. Yes, they're not up there yet, but they're on the way. Yes. I had, because someone emailed me about this very recently, actually, and asked a very similar question. So yes, and I had told her the same thing, basically. Like I said, new things being added all the time, as I have the time myself, which is right now minimal. Let me see. Alia says, hey, I love your videos. They've really helped me with my organization journey. Thank you. Oh, that's great. Knocked my phone over. That's one of the nicest comments I receive, honestly. People who message me and just say like, hey, this helped me. It's a really simple thing, but it's so lovely. Because, and I talked about this very recently, working online sometimes feels like you're just basically talking to yourself. It's like you can't, like, it's not like you're sitting down in front of people. You can't see people's reactions. You don't know how people are taking it. So it can be kind of, it's not like a lonely life or anything. I enjoy being alone. But sometimes it's like you put something out or you put a lot of work into it and you just put it up on the internet, and then it's, and you see numbers go up and stuff, but that's not the same. Like a number doesn't mean the same. It's not the same thing. So when I get comments and messages and things, that's lovely, because then it's a real person, even though technically I know the numbers represent real people. But yeah, thank you. I do really, really appreciate that. Let me see. John says, I've watched some minimalist videos a few days ago, and they're basically living out of a suitcase in a hotel room, even though they have an apartment. It's too extreme, in my opinion. Everyone has their own limit, and Instagram, I'm so sorry. I know Instagram is dropping all the time. Hi, Blaheen. Everyone has their own limit of what is acceptable to them. I am very much like a maximalist, minimalist. I like having stuff, and I think it becomes a question of Like going back to that question of like, how much should you keep, sort of, it's the level at which you feel comfortable. You don't just minimize for the sake of minimizing. Like if I could definitely stand to get rid of a lot more stuff, but it would get to a point where I just wouldn't be happy. I would feel like I was decluttering for the sake of decluttering rather than just making my life a little bit easier. For me, it's not about living with a minimum amount of stuff. It's about making my life easier. And like I said, creating that space and that time where my life functions, my home functions. I can find what I need. I can sit down and do what I need to do without having to clear things out of the way. Um, Generally, not always. But yeah, I think, Lohin, is there something up with the sound? On Instagram, apparently there is, yes. Sorry. I don't know if I should just end the Instagram stream if it's so bad, because obviously nobody will be here if it is bad. Let me see. I don't know if that's better. Probably not at all. Lordy, Instagram is that better? No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not at all. Let me see. Sorry, the chat keeps skipping because there's so many things coming in. I'm going to try and go through as many of these as I can. Ellie says, watching one of your videos a few weeks ago made me get my motivation to decluttering again right then and there. Thank you so much, Laura. Oh, that's great. And yeah, like somebody messaged me yesterday and said, so I put up my video of 10 things that you can declutter in April. Instagram seems to be back. I put up 10 things that you can declutter in April, and one of them was cosmetics. And I went on a little bit of a rant. If anyone saw it, let me know in the comments if you saw that video, if you saw my little rant. But yeah, somebody commented and said that they just happened to be near their cosmetics at the time, and they just went through them and got rid of loads. And like that, those types of messages just like make everything worth it. Like to know that it has had an actual impact on someone's life. That's really lovely. Oh, super chat! Super chat! Thank you so much. Let me scroll down. From Gigi, thank you so much. Half of the stuff clearing my house belongs to my grown kids. How do I make them understand that there is no room for crap? You pack it all up, you drive it over to their house, and you drop it off. Yes. That's how you do it. That's what my parents did, and they did it not in a, like I had asked them to do it because I wanted all of my stuff with me. But that is how you do it. You just make that very clear boundary that your house is not a dumping ground. It's not for storage. Yeah, drop it off. And if they live in a smaller place or whatever, that is unfortunate. But at the same time, it's not your job to manage all of their stuff. I hope that it might be kind of like a case of tough love, but yeah, you just drop it off, or you give them a deadline. You say like, hey, I'm clearing out. If there's anything you want, come and collect it. Otherwise, I'm out of here. I think Instagram is doing a little bit better now, but if the sound is still off and it's still jumpy, and the replay will be up on YouTube afterwards. Sorry about that. I don't know why the connection is so bad. On my phone, seems to be fine on my laptop. Let me see, sentimental items which don't genuinely serve me. I take several photos for digital photo frames of all those sentimental items, of which even the photo makes me happy, and let the items go. Absolutely, taking photographs is a great way to do it. And I've talked about this recently, but generally with sentimental stuff, it's not the actual physical item itself. It is what that represents. It's the memories attached to it. It reminds you of a particular person or place or time in your life. It's not about the physical item itself. And you can still kind of preserve the memory in a different way, like through a photograph that will help to kind of jog your memory, or journaling about that particular time in your life, what it means to you. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to keep the physical item. Like I said, it's generally not the item itself. Sometimes it is, like a family heirloom or something like that. But very often it's really just about what that represents, and you can capture that in a different non-physical way. Ryan says, how do you feel about list making your stuff? And do you find it helpful to find and remove clutter? I don't do it. I like the perfectionist side of me would love to do it, but I understand that that would take a lot of time and effort. Um, that I had a taste of it when we moved to the US because we had to, for insurance purposes, we had to list all of our stuff and kind of say how much it was worth, just in case it all disappeared en route. And that was painful. That was a painful process. It really depends on the amount of stuff you have and how much time you're willing to dedicate to that. I think if you kind of were interested in it, I would start with something small. So, for example, a tub of Christmas decorations, starting with that, listing what's in that, and then kind of branching out from there if you think that it's something for you. I definitely, like, in an ideal world, I would love to have everything in my home itemized. Again, like, I think it would just be very convenient for insurance purposes and things, but very time consuming. And then you have to keep it updated, as you get rid of things and buy new things. For me, that would just be a constant process. Let me see. Aurelia says, I just created a coffee bar in my house. I also decluttered the kitchen. I'm happy for it. Yeah, that's great. Like, just even creating those spaces for yourself, that to me is what it's all about. John says 80 Fahrenheit is 26 Celsius. So it's definitely not that warm here today, but it will very soon get that warm. And I can't wait. Irene says, how do I become a good declutterer? You become a good declutterer by decluttering. And I know that sounds silly, but you don't have to, declutter a certain amount or for, like a certain time period. You don't have to spend a certain amount of time doing it. If you just get rid of a handful of things every now and again, that's it. Like, a good declutterer is someone who takes action, basically. I hope that's helpful. Sometimes I feel like I answer these questions and that the answer just sounds ridiculous, but that is the correct answer. You become good at anything by doing it. Practice. So yeah, I would think if you actually do it rather than just thinking about it, which is what I did for so long. And I'm sure we've all done that, where we've sat down and kind of imagined what it would be like if such and such, if we did something. Like, try it. If you like it, keep going. If you don't like it, switch to something else. So yeah, I'm sorry if that's not what you wanted to hear. But yeah, I think action always trumps like just sitting and thinking about it. At least then you'll know either way if it is something for you or if it's not. Hazel says, I love meal list. Very satisfying to cross things off when done. Absolutely. Let me see. Heather says, you sound perfect to me. Yeah, Heather, that's because you're on YouTube. It's Instagram is the problem. Just said a mouthful there, really, didn't I? Yeah, let me see. Elizabeth says, yay, new worksheets. Said no student ever. Mine, I try and keep mine very practical, and I try and keep them in a kind of a bite-sized way so that you can use them if you want, or not use them if that's not the way you learn. And that's why I try and mix in as well. Like, a lot of mine is taught through video, but I try and kind of supplement them with worksheets for people who are more like tactile and who like to write things down. And sometimes I like to provide alternatives as well. So I might do one in a kind of list format, and then another will be in like maybe boxes or something like that. So yeah, depending on which kind of way you think, because I'm very much a list thinker, like a linear thinker. But other people are not. Other people like, mind maps and things like that. That's not the way my brain works. But I know it works wonderfully for other people. Andrew says, my stuff is not a fire hazard, but that's the excuse given when people try to get me to get rid of all my stuff, books especially. Listen, everything in life is a hazard. You could like fall down the stairs tomorrow. You could just like twist your ankle, just like go over on the side of your ankle. You could bump your head. You can't live your life like that either. Yeah, so I wouldn't overly worry about that. I mean, like, fire hazard as in like there are newspapers and stuff piled up. And it's not just fire hazard in the sense that something is flammable, but if it's blocking an exit or something like that, that is when you should maybe reconsider. But if you like your stuff, like, listen, you can't think like that all the time either. Um, Mary says, I'm getting ready for a big apartment inspection in 3 weeks. I'm off work this week, so I want to do as much as I can, but my ADHD brain is overwhelmed. How can I break tasks down over the time I have? That's an excellent question. I don't have ADHD, so I always find it kind of tricky giving advice on something like that because I don't fully understand it, and therefore it's harder for me to, you know, say what to do. I will say there's a great channel called How to ADHD. I know there are lots of people in this community who have ADHD, and they find that channel incredibly helpful. So I would say check out that channel. I would also say, like, ADHD, again, this is like my very limited understanding of it. But you can be very distracted by things. But on the flip side, you can also be completely engrossed in something. So, what I would say is make a list of short tasks that you can complete, break everything down. So, instead of just like the kitchen, break it down like utensil drawer, um, emptying the dishwasher, cupboard where you keep the plates, etc. Have your list, and then you should be able to complete a space in a very short amount of time, so that if you do then get distracted with something else, you have at least finished a task, and you have your list there that you can come back to. But if you do find that you're in one of those times where you are intensely focused, you can just keep going through the list. I really hope that's helpful. Again, because I don't have ADHD, I'm hesitant to suggest things like that because I don't fully understand it. So please tell me if I'm totally off the mark there. But from my understanding, I feel like that would be something that would be very helpful. Having it in smaller, like check marks, very short finish lines, so that you can get through things very quickly, but you still have something to come back to. I hope that's helpful. Let me see. Um, depending on, I suppose, like an inspection, an apartment inspection, they're probably going to inspect pretty much everything, but I would obviously focus on the more visual areas like kitchens and bathrooms. I wouldn't necessarily start inside cupboards and things, but starting with the visible areas like the surfaces, starting with like dining table, etc. Again, Tish says, I love your videos. They've really helped me get motivated. I've completely redone my craft room. Now I love it. It's so comfortable and I don't miss anything I decluttered. That's great. That is exactly what decluttering should be about. It's not about just getting rid of stuff. It's about creating that space so that you can sit down and do the things that you love to do. Rather than sitting down and thinking, oh, I should do this, but first I'd have to clear off this table or this desk, or where is that thing? I want to get started, but I don't know where such and such a thing is. That's lovely. Ava says, what do I do when I've honestly decluttered everything excess and still have surface clutter with no home? I have a very small home, obviously. Get yourself baskets, shove everything into a basket. That is my honest advice. Surface clutter is, the thing with it is, for me, is that it spreads out. Like if it were all contained in like one pile at the end of a counter, I wouldn't feel as bad about that. And particularly when it's in a basket, it's kind of hidden. Like you don't see 20 different things, you just see one basket, maybe with like a few things peeping out. But yeah, I would say get yourself a container and then try and contain it all in one particular place. I know, like, this is something I try and do in my kitchen, and I've talked about this when I did a recent kitchen cleaning video. I try and keep like all the small appliances in one area that's kind of tucked away in the corner, and it just means that the rest of my counter is clear then, even though that one, like, it'll be easy for me to like spread out, like toaster here, kettle here, coffee machine over here, but it just means that there would be no space on my counter that would be completely clear of something. So yeah, I try and corral them all into one particular place. And yeah, if you can put them in a basket or something, that, if it's like papers or things like that. I hope that's helpful. How much you keep, Hazel says, proportionally with how much you can actually take care of. Sorry, how much you keep works proportionally with how much you can actually take care of. Absolutely. I like the more you have to clean and move and stuff. And that's been one of the biggest benefits for me of decluttering. It's the fact that I don't have to spend as much time cleaning, which I don't particularly enjoy. Let me see. Oh, no, I thought I had answered everything and then the chat just jumped again and there are a million more. Okay, let's fly through these. Let me see. Gigi says 99 watching, but only 29 likes. Come on, man. 121 watching now. Yay. Nobody on Instagram because that's just, let me see. I love how you're all like helping each other out in the comments as well. That's really nice that you're all chatting back and forth. I really love that as well. Sometimes I go into like my Facebook groups and things, you know, somebody has asked a question and I go in to answer it. And there are just like so many other comments there from other people who are already trying to help. And I'm like, oh, they've got this. So yeah, that's wonderful. Hazel says, Laura, your thoughts on doing a little every day versus saving it all up for a one-day marathon declutter? This really depends on your lifestyle. Like if you've got very young kids, then saving up for like a one-day marathon may not work with your schedule. Personally, I am a like as much as I can in one go sort of person, because I feel like you get bigger results with that. And when you get those results, it's more motivating. I think if you do a little bit every day, you're not going to really see the impact. So it can be harder to keep your motivation levels up. But if that's all the time that you have, you know, when my daughter was younger, I would just spend a few minutes here and there doing it and it adds up. So what I would say is if you only have time to do a small amount, actually I say this for everything, but always take your before pictures. And then, so let's say you're doing over the course of a week or a month, you're doing little bits here and there. At the end, then take your after picture and you would be able to see from that the massive amount of progress that you have made, if you can't do it all in one go, because that will provide the motivation that you need. Generally for me, I'm a do it all in one go sort of person. Helga says Instagram just crashed for a bunch of people globally. Had to reinstall it myself just now, so it's the app's fault. Good. I'm reading a book on Instagram at the moment and it's really fascinating, but they're talking about how in the beginning, because they had such a small team and because the app like took off much faster than they were expecting, like it was constantly crashing and they were just like staying up through the night trying to get it back online. So poor Instagram. And I didn't like Instagram when it first came out. Could not see the point of it at all. Like just taking a picture and sticking it up somewhere. Didn't see the point. Now I love it. Donna says, Laura, what do you think of limiting the space that items can take up, like one tote dedicated to a specific type of item you are keeping? This is a wonderful question. Thank you for asking this. Here is my unpopular opinion on that. And I say unpopular because it's not the advice that everyone gives. I feel like most organizers will tell you have a tub, and once your stuff outgrows that tub, that's it. You get rid of anything past that point. I think that's bad advice. That's something that would not work for me, because I think sometimes, like I said, I'm more of a kind of maximalist, minimalist. If I were to say I can only keep 10 of something, but I found an 11th and I absolutely loved it and it fit in fine with my lifestyle and stuff, I don't see the point. Sometimes I feel like you can kind of like declutter for the sake of decluttering. I think it's great to give you some boundaries and some guidelines. I think it's great to have, you know, let's say a tub for all your kids' artwork or something. And then you know that like when it starts to get full, it's time to go through that. Or like you have a little in tray for post and stuff. And once that gets full, it's time to go through it and weed it out. I think it's great for that. I don't think it's great in the sense that you can only keep X amount of stuff. And once it goes past this, you have to get rid of things. I don't agree with that side of it. Yeah. Let me see. Yeah, lots of people saying give her a thumbs up. Thank you. That really does help. Everything, like any sort of positive interaction, even negative ones, even a thumbs down. Not that I'm like suggesting you do that. But engagement on a video really does help to kind of push it out there. Live streams, though, don't perform well because people outside of like that particular community don't really care about live streams because they're more a community thing. Like I'm here to answer your particular questions. But on my regular videos, go wild. Yeah. Anne says hi. Hi, Anne. Elias says, I don't have a question. I just saw you were going live and wanted to say I love your channel. That's lovely. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Again, yeah, it's just seeing comments, knowing that you're actual real people. That is like, yeah, that's really hard for me to wrap my head around. Pamela on the farm says, I love your monthly 10 things to declutter. I may not get them all done, but I still have them written down. I dedicate the first weekend of the month to doing the 10 things. That's wonderful. I always try and make decluttering like accessible and practical and very easy to do because I know how overwhelming it can be, particularly if you do feel that you can only do it all in one go and that just doesn't suit your schedule right now. So every month I've tried to kind of list out small little things that you can do that will just really help to kind of kickstart something or just clear off a little space for yourself. And I try and kind of tie them into whatever particular season we're in. So, here in the US, we're coming into tax season. So one of the things was looking at financial statements, etc. Like decluttering your financial situation, excess bank accounts and credit cards and things like that. So really simple things that you can do. But if like at the end of the year, there are going to be 120 categories and there will be some kind of overlap, some months. So let's say I talked about something in January and then I mentioned it again in June. But I think there are probably going to be about 100 things at the end of the year. So even if you only got rid of one thing from each category, it'd still be 100 things gone out of your home. Yeah, you don't have to do every single category. Some of them won't apply to you. Like cosmetics doesn't really apply to me, but I still included it. Yeah, it's just kind of some pointers because I know people, like one of the big questions is, where do I start? I feel very overwhelmed. I don't know what to tackle next. And these are just good suggestions for things you can do. Gigi says, what's that ADHD channel again, please? It is How to ADHD. Shauna says, I love how your course addresses the different lifestyles, organization styles, and learning styles. I look forward to going through the new modules. That's great. So yeah, I do start off talking about like the different decluttering methods, depending on which one will suit you. Like the KonMari Method obviously is kind of the one that I follow for the most part. But I know that just doesn't suit everyone. It's just not everyone's style. So then I also talk about Swedish death cleaning. Which for some people that really works. And I have to say, I've kind of supplemented my KonMari Method with Swedish death cleaning. Have found it really, really helpful. I talk about natural decluttering. I talk about my wave method. I think the wave method is probably the one that most people, that's the one I get the most feedback on, I guess. So that seems to be the one that people really resonate with. But I really appreciate that, Shauna. Thank you. You know what? I'm going to screenshot that so I can use it as a testimonial if that's okay with you. Because I just, it's hard for me to like, it's not hard for me. It's very easy for me to wax lyrical about the course, but I really love getting that feedback because it's much more, well, it's objective, for a start, I'm incredibly biased. So it's really lovely to hear from other people, their opinions of it. Because, for me, because I'm so invested in it and so involved in it, I obviously think it's wonderful. So it's great to hear feedback from other people. And I think other people who are not signed up for the course yet, like obviously they're going to prefer hearing from someone who has actually been there, done that, or is going through it or whatever. So actual unbiased feedback and opinions. So that really, really does help. Thank you. Let me see. Mary says, yes, that was very helpful. Thank you. You're very welcome. Isabel says, listening to you while on a walk in sunny Dublin after decluttering and listing several items for sale, charity shops closed is a hindrance to get rid of decent, small and large items sustainably. First of all, I miss Dublin, miss Ireland in general. I am due my first dose of the vaccine next week, and then the second dose a few weeks after that. And I'm kind of sitting here thinking, like, what does it change apart from my immunity levels? It doesn't mean that I can immediately hop on a plane to Ireland. And that's hard. It's hard. But that's wonderful. I know the charity shops thing is really awkward. I think, listing things for sale is great, but very often, like, there are buy nothing groups on Facebook where you can just list things, or in Ireland specifically, adverts.ie, donedeal.ie, listing things there even for free. A lot of people will come and take it off your hands and be able to reuse it or repurpose it or whatever they want to do with it. But it's just a way. I prefer personally donating, because I feel like somebody who wants it or loves it can get it, but it also then will financially support a charity. But I think right now beggars can't be choosers. Everything has been closed down for a long time, and I think people who maybe would need to shop in a charity shop, or would need to kind of find things at a lower price, for them, on the flip side, it's hard for them to have those types of stores closed as well. So I think offering your stuff for free on some websites, or just for a very low price, can still benefit someone else. So it'll still be a sustainable way to do it. So yeah, but it's definitely hard. Martha says, hi Laura, I'm joining quite late. Don't worry about it. Hello. Wendy, question, if you were to have one word or phrase to keep repeating as I declutter, what would it be? A mantra to declutter to? I don't know, like, my kind of overarching mantra for life is do it anyway. And I have that sign on my desk. And that helps me when I get to the stage of decluttering where I don't want to do it, which is, it happens, and it happens several times throughout the process. So just getting it done. But yeah, I don't know if there's one like specifically for decluttering. I think if you were to ask, like, does this fit in with the lifestyle that I want, or does this fit in with the life that I'm trying to create for myself? Is this helping me or hindering me? I think that would be maybe a good question or mantra. Helping or hindering? Put me on the spot with that one now. As soon as I'm off this live stream, I'll be able to think of a wonderful one. But yeah, I think that's probably, is this helping? Is this contributing? Or is this like taking away from what I'm trying to achieve? Sue says, I've loved watching your channel. I can easily use my kitchen now. I enjoy cooking. Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, I really love that when people can do things again. When somebody says, I've cleared my craft table, or I've cleared my kitchen, and that means that I can actually do something that I enjoy doing now. Oh, there's no better feeling for me. I think that's wonderful. Donna says one of her phrases is, I deserve to have better things and a better home. That's a good one. That's a good one. Yami says, what do you do if you have a lot of work going on? I know decluttering would make everything easier, but I don't have a lot of energy to do it. Ignore it for now. Take it in very small chunks. Like, if you immediately notice that something is clutter and is in your way, get rid of it immediately. But I wouldn't necessarily, if your energy is going into work right now, and that's kind of, I would hope that's a temporary situation, you're just particularly busy, going through a particularly busy phase, I would leave the decluttering. I don't think there's any point in adding something to your plate right now, and then basically trying to simultaneously work on two different things. I know, yeah, decluttering in a lot of situations would make things easier, but at the same time, it also makes things harder in some ways. So like I said, if this is just a temporary phase that you're going through, you've got a lot of work going on right now, but it will at some point ease off, then I would just focus on work for now. And then, when that's kind of out of the way, then maybe go through a decluttering phase. But don't try and divide your energy. Like I said, if you notice something is cluttering up a space, spend 5 minutes just very quickly clearing it off. But yeah, I wouldn't divide your energy right now. You'll just end up completely burnt out and hating everything, like not being able to do proper work, not just being completely frustrated with the whole decluttering experience. Not a good recipe. The Story Keeper, how to declutter furniture. Habitat will only take donations if they're left outside the house. I live by myself, so I can't move heavy furniture. Ooh, that's a good one. I mean, is there anyone around who could help? Neighbor, family member, friend. You can even pay people these days. Like, I know if I stuck up a thing on, let's say, like something like Nextdoor or Facebook or something, and I said, I would pay you X amount of money to just help me haul a couch out to the curb, I would have a lot of takers. So hopefully there's someone around who can help do that. But yeah, usually people are very motivated by money. So if you say, hey, $10, $20 or whatever to the person who can man with van, if you can get someone like that, hopefully that will help. I think, and are there any other like organizations that will come into your home? I don't know. This is something I've never done. I've always like gone to a charity shop and brought stuff. But yeah, or like put it up for sale online. If it is a couch or something, and you just say free to take away if you don't want money for it, or like $50, but you have to come and take it yourself. You have to come collect, something like that. Jennifer says how to organize small items. Categorize them all as miscellaneous, chuck them in a box. This is a big thing because in so many decluttering like methods, we're taught to categorize things and put like with like, and that's definitely helpful, but it's not helpful when it comes to those small things. And that's why we all have junk drawers, and that's why we all have like a storage space, and it just kind of houses random things. It's totally fine to have those random spaces. If you can put like with like, so if they're all small, like stationary items, for example, just have a box, stationary. I wouldn't worry about that. Don't worry about having everything kept separate. If they're small things and they go in a box or in a junk drawer, that's fine. Categorize them as miscellaneous, bits and bobs, I like to call them. Yeah, I wouldn't. Same with papers. I think sometimes when people are putting together a filing system, they feel like every piece of paper should have a specific folder that it goes into. But no, sometimes just like a reference folder. Like I have a reference folder, and just anything that I kind of want to keep for some reason that doesn't fit into one of my broad categories. I just took it in there. I think that's totally fine. I feel like I'm giving advice that goes counter to every other like professional organizer and declutterer out there, but I do things that are practical that make sense for me. Let me see. Dakota says, I am an adult. I got this shit. It's dumb, but it helps. I don't think that's dumb at all. I think whatever works for you. Sometimes when I'm kind of in a situation where I feel myself like sinking to someone else's level, or I feel like I'm just gonna like give up, I want to throw a bit of a childish tantrum. The phrase that I repeat to myself is wear your invisible crown. And I just picture myself wearing a crown, being all regal and like getting it done. So that's one of mine. Always wear your invisible crown. Another life one. Rebecca says, I'm decluttering, but due to work, 2 kids, I have burnout and depression and going through a bad divorce. Oh, that's rough. I struggle to get started. I write my list, plan, but can't get started. Any tips? Similar to the advice that I gave, don't do it. Don't do it. You already have enough mentally on your plate. It's not worth taking on something else right now. I would say write your list, make your plans, but for the future, don't worry about getting started. I have been through burnout. It's not a pretty place to be. I have been through depression, an even worse place to be. I didn't start decluttering until I had come out the other side of depression, I was like starting to come out the other side. And then going through a bad divorce. I don't have experience of this, but I was a divorce lawyer. So I kind of have some understanding of what that process is like. And it's not a pretty process. So I would say ditch the decluttering for now. It's just not worth it. You have, your energy is being like depleted in so many other different ways. I, I, that's an awful lot of things to go through, and an awful lot of awful things to go through. So I would not worry about decluttering for now. I would just worry on getting yourself better, focusing on your mental health, your physical health, doing small things every day. Sometimes things are just a process. Like divorce is a process, not a pleasant process, but it's one that you just have to get to the end of. Burnout is just one of those things, depression, just doing what you can to focus on those and getting yourself better, talking to someone. 2 kids as well. Like if you had just stopped that sentence, like that question at like working 2 kids, I would have said 2 kids, you've enough on your plate. But then you went on, like that's more than enough for any one person to handle. So I wouldn't, if you do feel that decluttering would help, and that is the thing that is kind of the, I don't know, what is the word? Like that's the good thing in your life. That is the thing that you are kind of clinging on to. That's the thing that makes you feel better. Do something like, my 10 things to declutter in April. Don't even do 10, but just pick one of those and do it, and then take a break from that. And I would also say take time to celebrate those little wins. Like if you're listing and planning, and then finding that you can't really get started, it's probably because your list or your plan is too big, too overwhelming. Whereas if you say, I'm just going to get rid of one thing today, do that one thing, not have a plan for after that, and then celebrate, take the time to actually, I don't know, soak that up, I guess. Yeah, really enjoy that feeling. And then you can build on that from there. But yeah, I think just for now, you've got enough going on. I feel like that's a lot for any one person, and I'm really sorry you're going through that. And it is all temporary for you. I know, like I said, having been through burnout, having been through depression, that it's temporary. It's crap while you're going through it, but you will come through it. So, and same with the divorce. Like I said, no personal experience with that, but it does end. There is an end point. So yeah, I'm really sorry. That sounds like a really rough time. So don't put anything else on your plate. Just focus on you and your kids. That's it. Leona says, great answer to ADHD person. I really hope so, because like I said, I'm hesitant to recommend things when I don't have any personal experience of them. I always like to give advice that, it's like tried and tested for me, kind of. Gigi says, oops, your YouTube feed paused, probably on my end. Well, don't know. Laura says, my house needs every room decluttered. How and where do I start? I'm feeling overwhelmed. Start with your nightstand. Your nightstand is like one of the first things you see when you wake up in the morning. It's one of the last things you see at night. So waking up to kind of like that one calm space, and then going to sleep, seeing that one calm space, that really helps. What I would recommend is going through my Clutter-Free in 5 challenge. If you look on my YouTube channel, you will see it listed there and under playlists. And it takes you through like 5-minute tasks that you can do every day. So I would possibly, that's what I would recommend. But nightstand, always a great one. Sock drawer, underwear drawer, always another great one, because those are the spaces that you're seeing on a very regular basis. So those are the things that give you, like, your entryway. When you come into your home, if your entryway is decluttered, it makes you feel better. If the first thing you see when you walk into your home or you open your eyes in the morning is clutter, that is going to not make you feel very good. So those spaces, and then focus obviously on surfaces. Don't worry about like closets and cupboards and things like that, unless you're kind of in them on a very, very regular basis, like multiple times a day. But surfaces are the things to focus on then after that. But the nightstand, nightstand, sock drawer, kind of always the first 2 that I recommend. And they will, you can kind of ripple out from there. So you might think, well, my nightstand, nobody's going to see that. Like, my kitchen is a disaster. Surely I could focus on that first. But no, I always think focus on the things that are going to make you feel good and are going to motivate you to want to continue and to let that spread out from there. Sometimes it's a mental challenge more than anything else. So having that one space where it makes you feel like you can do something and you can make progress, very often that's enough to kind of keep you going and get the rest done. So overcoming the mental hurdle sometimes is the way to go. Let me see. Again, loads of people like replying to each other and giving helpful advice. I love that. Hazel says, regarding before pictures, I watched back an older home video and was horrified at stuff sitting out. Very motivational to actually get rid of things. Yeah, absolutely. When I see old pictures of how I used to live, and listen, I'm not saying my home is perfect by any means, like my basement, my office area at the minute, a lot of stuff on the floor needs to be dealt with. But when I look back at old photographs, it's just... I'm very glad I don't have photographs of how my room used to look when I was kind of in my early 20s-ish, when I had first moved out of home. Oh, just thinking back, it was a bad situation. It was a bad situation. That was like where like the floor was completely covered. My bed was completely covered. Yeah, not a good time. But look, you get through it. It's like everything else. But yeah, looking back at old pictures is very like, number one, where did I put all of that stuff? And like, wow, I actually have made progress. I've come a long way. Let me see. John says, looks like the YouTube live chat is about 13 minutes ahead of Instagram. Your Instagram crashed comment was a 12:26 and you commented about it as 12:39. I could be completely wrong. Because I'm going back and forth between Instagram, although I've completely forgotten Instagram now. But because I'm going back and forth between the two, sometimes I don't answer questions until like a long time after they have actually been asked. Let me see. Abby says, I have an 8-month-old daughter and I find it hard to declutter her things. Oh, listen, yeah, it's hard, isn't it? It's really hard. I wish I had better advice for you, but I really don't. The best thing that helped me was actually getting my husband involved. And this was not something that I ever even considered asking for his help on, because like I said, my husband's not on board with decluttering at all, not at all. But when we were moving over here to the US, we were kind of going through some stuff in the attic and I had a lot of her stuff stored up there, clothes, etc. And my husband, because he is not very sentimental when it comes to that stuff, he was able to just step in and say, why are you keeping this stuff? And it was kind of the kick that I needed. So if you have like an unsentimental person in your life, a partner or a friend or something, sometimes just someone who can talk you through that perspective can really help. I was amazed that my husband actually helped me with decluttering something. But yeah, but it is hard. If you can get someone else also to drop it off at the charity shop or to actually get rid of it, that would help. I have dropped all my daughter's stuff off at the charity shop, well, most of it. And it helps because when I have to hand the stuff over, physically hand it over, I find that very hard. I almost punched a lady once because I was handing stuff over and she saw a little toy in the box and she was like, oh, my daughter would love that. And I was this close, like this visceral reaction. I had this terrible reaction where I was like, that's my daughter's. Like, yeah, I had to step back and walk away. Yeah, it's a tough one. There's no, hopefully having someone else kind of talk you through it and getting someone else to actually do the decluttering in the sense of actually getting rid of it out of your home, that can help. But don't feel obliged to declutter that stuff right now if you're just not ready. If you're not ready, you're not ready. And that's okay too. Okay, I think Brianne says, thanks for doing this. Just got your course and can't wait to start. I saw Brianne, I saw your name pop up last night. Yay. This is the last name I saw before I went to bed, or was it? No, I think it was the first name I saw when I woke up this morning. So thank you for that. Yay. I'm trying to share on Instagram. I'm sharing like the names of people who are joining just to say like, thank you. I really appreciate it. I love seeing people join because I'm like, oh, this is exciting. You're about to start your adventure. Yeah, it's very exciting for me. And Gigi says it's also a mind trip that we on this side of the universe can have you speak to us in real time. It's so weird, trippy. Um, Linda says, I love your advice. It's so realistic and attainable. That's great. Again, like one of the big reasons that I started this channel and the blog and stuff was because when I was looking for attainable, realistic, practical advice, I couldn't find it. And it was very disheartening, very disappointing. A lot of the advice out there was, just get up earlier, get up an hour earlier, do all this stuff. And I do think there's definitely merit in, getting up maybe before your kids or whatever. But I had a young baby at the time. I was a new mother. I was going through postnatal depression. That was just not practical advice for me at all. Days when like just getting out of bed was a struggle. Yeah, so I really try and make my advice as practical, helpful, attainable as possible. Nicole, what is the wave method? So essentially the wave method is where you work in waves. You go through the first time and you erode away all of the stuff that you know is clutter, junk, things like that. You go back in, your second wave then will be stuff that's like easy to declutter. You already know that you don't want it anymore. Third wave then is for things that are a little bit more difficult, etc. And you keep going in waves, and you are essentially, like I said, eroding away your clutter. It takes longer though. That is the downside to it. And you're kind of going over a lot of the same stuff again and again. So it is a longer process, but it has proven very effective for a lot of people who, walk into a space and are completely overwhelmed. It's great for storage areas in particular. If you've got like a closet that has become a bit of a dumping ground, or an attic or a basement or a garage or something like that, just taking it in waves, essentially. That's, like I said, takes longer, but proves very effective if you are at a stage where something is very overwhelming and you don't want to like just have to go through every single thing all in one go, or like consecutively. AB says, how to get one room filled from floor to roof with boxes and shelves with stuff decluttered without messing the whole house up. So I think you've kind of partly answered your own question. It's about keeping it in one area. But if you've decided that stuff is to be decluttered, I would get it out of your home as quickly as possible. Again, I know it's tricky when a lot of charity shops are closed. I don't know where you live, but I'm assuming that's why the stuff is sitting there. Think about other ways to get rid of it. Putting it on a website, offering it up for free, a buy nothing Facebook group, leaving it out on the curb with a sign that says free, something like that. But yes, definitely containing it all in one space if you can. But again, without knowing specifically why it's there, I think if you've already decided to declutter it, it's simply a matter of getting it out, even if it's not in the exact way that you would ideally like to do it. Other than that, it's just a case of waiting until everything reopens, which hopefully will be soon-ish, as long as it can be safely done. Hazel says, I love Swedish death cleaning, especially after having to go through every single paper that my dad kept after he died. For real, the man never let a book or piece of paper go. Yeah, and those are the things that we don't think about. For me, I'm not necessarily focused so much on what other people will have to kind of get rid of. I don't focus as much on that side of things. What I do focus more on, me personally, is, do I want someone to see this after I'm gone? Or kind of like, where is this going to end up? Like, if this is just going to end up in a skip, in a bin at the end of all this, then do I really want to keep it throughout my entire life, knowing that it's eventually going to end up in a bin anyway? That's kind of the aspect that I keep in mind. But yeah, I have cleared out my uncle's house. Well, not like I've helped to clear out, not like me. I went in all on my own and cleared out everything. I've never cleared out a parent's house, mercifully. But yeah, it can be a struggle. I don't think it's a great way to live your life, thinking what will happen after I pass, but it can sometimes just be a little bit more eye-opening when you consider that all of that stuff really is going to end up in a landfill. But there's there's a book called Goodbye Things, and was it Goodbye Things? No, I don't think it was. There's some decluttering book I read. I read so many. But one of them, there was kind of a phrase in that that really stuck with me and has really helped me on my decluttering journey, and helped me not to buy more things. And that is that everything, no matter how much you love it, no matter how much you use it, want it, need it, it is all going to end up as trash at some point. And that really opened my eyes that like everything that I buy is basically just trash, will end up as trash. So that has really helped me. Louie Lou says, hi, I'm in my loft as we speak. Good internet connection in your loft. Decluttering some old bathroom tiles from 10 years ago. Was listening to you. I have no questions, but love your videos. Keep up the good work. You keep up the good work. That is great. Go you. Let me see. Oh, chat has skipped again. My goodness, there are so many questions today. I'm not going to get to all of them because I would just be here for another hour. Let me see. I'll answer a few more and then I will leave you in peace. I'm just trying to go through now and find one that I haven't answered. Thank you so much for all these lovely comments, by the way. I'm sorry if I can't reply to each individual one. I would love to be able to reply to all of these individually, but we would be here all day long. I'm a talker. Maybe he says listening to you is like listening to a BFF. I think our goals should be to talk to ourselves the way you. Oh, that's lovely. Wow, there's so many nice comments. I'm like sifting through to try and find a question. Linda says your advice is people-oriented, not system-oriented. That's why it's so good. That's an interesting observation. I never thought about it that way. But you're probably right. Yeah, I don't have like a particular system that I recommend. Because I know everyone is so different, and even sometimes, you know, different stages in your life. Like sometimes the KonMari method works really well for me, and sometimes I just don't. I'm just not in that mood. So yeah, that's a really interesting point. Thank you. I never thought about it that way. Let me see. Laluluz says, smiling at your do it anyway mantra. It doesn't repel me the same way just do it always has. Yeah, just do it to me because I'm so stubborn. That has always sounded like more of a command to me, whereas do it anyway is kind of like, I know this kind of sucks, but you're going to do it anyway. You're going to suck it up and do it anyway. I'm new to this channel. I can't pinpoint your accent. Where are you from? Ireland. Okay, I think I'm going to go because I'm not going to get through all of these comments and questions. Okay, I'm going to do one more. Hello, paper seems to be hard for me when it comes to cards and letters from loved ones. How to know which ones to keep and which to toss? What I do is I keep the most recent one or any that have a very special message. So I, get a lot of cards from, my parents, for example, and most of them will just be kind of very general. Hope you have a great birthday, that kind of thing. So I keep the most recent one, but then there might be a special one that would say, that would just have a particularly special message in it, or would be a particularly momentous occasion, maybe like a sweet 16 sort of thing. So I would think keep the most recent in terms of cards, and any that have a particular, like I said, a particularly special message. For letters, again, I would go through and just keep the ones that are particularly special, without knowing kind of what the letters say or what the content of the letters is. It's hard for me to give more specific advice than that. When I looked back over letters that I had, more so notes, I guess, between me and my friends in school, I ended up just burning them all without reading all of them. I read a few and it was so cringy that I just got rid of the whole lot. It really depends, like when you say loved ones, I mean, again, are they still living? Are you still in touch with them? That there are a lot of factors that go in there. But for cards, generally, most recent and special. And then letters, I would say, like the ones that have the most meaning to you. That's a very personal thing again. Again, don't feel obliged to get rid of them just because you feel that you should. But if they are becoming like a bit of a hindrance and you're ready to part with them and you're just kind of trying to find the best way to do it, yeah, that's what I would. Don't get bogged down in like reading every single one. Also get very comfortable. Oh, this is a mistake that I made when I was doing papers, like sitting on the floor reading letters. You're going to be there for hours and your back is going to be broken at the end of it. Get comfortable. Try not to do it all in one go either, because sentimental stuff like that, particularly letters, can be very emotionally draining, can take a long, long time. So try and do it in stages over, like depending on how many you have, but maybe over a week or over a month or whatever. Yeah, that's, oh, I wish I could go through all of these, but I do not have the time. I'm so sorry. But thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for your questions. I really, really appreciate it. I hope this has been helpful. If you are interested in the course, it is live as we speak. And thank you for everyone who has, number one, joined, who is a student. Thank you for, saying nice things about it, unprompted. I really like that. But yeah, again, sometimes when I'm working online and I'm creating things, it's really, I keep people in mind, but I'm still creating for the void, essentially. And that I found that really difficult. That can be really difficult sometimes. So actually getting that feedback is really, really helpful. Okay, last question on Instagram, because that seems to have been working again. Beth Ann says she's working on her Marie Kondo certification and she's worried she will fail. What's your advice on working past that? And do you think you need a cert to help people declutter? You absolutely do not need a cert. I have no qualifications whatsoever. None. Like when it comes to decluttering. But apparently I can still help people. So I wouldn't worry about that at all. Do your best. If you pass, you pass. That's wonderful. But nothing will turn on your cert. If you can help people declutter, you can help them. A piece of paper is not going to really change that. It's kind of like when you get married, although there are like tax and legal implications. But in terms of your relationship, it doesn't really change anything. It might make you feel a little bit better. It might make you feel a little bit more secure in your relationship, but nothing really turns on it. On a day-to-day basis, you're still the person that you are. You're still doing the things that you do, and you're still helping each other out as much as you can. So yeah, I wouldn't overly worry. Like if you want to get your cert, obviously, put some work into it. That would be great. It's a lovely little achievement. Sometimes it's just like a token. It's a little thing that makes you feel good, and it's great to have it. But if you don't, you'll do just fine. If you want to help people, you will help people. So thank you so much for being here. I'm really sorry I was not expecting this level of interaction. I thought I'd just kind of get a few comments, a few questions, answer them and be good, but I'm very overwhelmed in the best possible way by this. I'm really sorry Instagram just like sucked today. But yeah, thank you so much. I'm going to go, don't know what I'm going to go do now actually. Lots to do. Not a shortage of things to do, but not sure what's next on the list. Thank you for being here. Love to you all. Like I said, yeah, if you are interested in the course, there's a link on Instagram. It's in my bio. On YouTube, it's in the description box. You'll learn loads more about it. Yeah, that's it. Thank you. Bye, everyone. Bye. See you.